Well, hello. I'm Kevin Startt, personal financial counselor at Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Marietta, Georgia. You know, cabin fever is building as our family begins to hunker down. And by the way, our hearts go out while we're hunkering to the many families across this nation that have been affected so much by the impact of this virus. And you know, as we look at the third version of Bill Murray's Groundhog Day, which featured his character, Phil Connors, having to relive February the 2nd over and over and over again. It kind of plays out to our basic instincts right now. We feel like we're doing things over and over and over again. Here are 9 tips to ensure that we make it through this situation financially as well as socially, and we are more intact than ever before the next time around. First of all, utilize the checks that will go out to millions of taxpayers in a couple of weeks. Prioritize that money in 4 categories. First of all, your basic needs like food, utilities, housing, and transportation, which are very important. And if you do have a job, this is a great time to start a rainy day or savings or emergency fund, or even pay down some debt. One thing I don't want you to do is pay down debt if that would require you to turn around and swipe a credit card again later on. Don't want to do that. And last of all, remember that if you do start a savings account, there's still some pretty decent rates out there, as high as 1.5% on a savings account. And lastly, make sure that you are taking any increase in pay, not just the checks, but the savings that you are realizing by filling up for $1.45 right now, and add those to your savings trough as well. In other words, follow the advice of 7 years of famine, followed by 7 years of prosperity, straight from the biblical story of Joseph. Secondly, if you missed the warning signs of an overvalued stock market in early 2020, you're under the age of 50, and you have the bulk of your savings tied up in a thrift savings plan or 401k or 403b, don't try to time the market. That's a fool's game. And do that, however, possibly if you have a segregated account, some money to blow, but certainly not with your life savings. You know, missing the best 5 days in the market, as Fidelity has pointed out, you would have missed 35% of the nearly 400% return from 2009 right through to February the 12th of 2020. Hard to believe it was just a little over a month ago that this began. And secondly, if you missed all 10 days, you would have cut your money right in half. So don't try to time the market. Third, downturns happen. Life comes at us fast financially as well. Put a positive spin on the fact, however, that downturns have lasted a much smaller period of time, and the impact has been much less dramatic than great bull markets, like the longest one that we just went through that ended in February. So take advantage of investing lump sums periodically, just like you would small sums, at the top of the market as well as the bottom of the market, because the impact of dollar cost averaging over time will impact those investments. So through regular payroll withdrawals or withdrawals from your LES if you're in the military, you can be assured of 3 absolutes. Number 1, you're going to pay a lot less price for those shares. You're buying less shares when the market's up, more shares when the market's down, and the impact of that means that the cost of those overall shares is substantially less. Now, this doesn't work if you're taking money out in retirement and you're in a long bear market. Just the opposite would occur. The second and probably the most important factor of that is that by investing at the tops of markets and the bottoms of markets, you will stabilize and lower your risk with regard to easing the ups and downs that are bound to occur as we go through situations like this in our economy. Fifth, this is a great time In fact, I would beg you to get with your advisor, not only to get their take on this downturn and see really the conviction in their eyes, as well as their methodology, but get a portfolio stress test done. And this can come in a lot of shapes and sizes and forms and fashions. And it's not scientific, but it will give you a good look into your basic instincts near the bottom of a market when things seemingly could not get worse. In fact, it was Rothschild that said in 1907, during the 1907 panic, that you should buy when there's blood in the streets. Not literally, but when everybody else is selling and it seems like the sky is falling. 6, invest lump sums, like I said, in good times and bad times. Some of the best times to buy stocks have been when those pundits, those perilous pundits that may not have their own money invested in the market, are saying that the sky is falling. Remember, it's the tortoise in Aesop's fable that beats the rabbit. So it's great to buy those FANG stocks, the Facebook, Amazons, Netflix, but there are dividend-paying stocks out there, folks, that are not only paying more than the Standard & Poor's 500, that are extremely attractive, extremely strong, and extremely capable of being able to pay their dividend, that are paying well over 5% right now, which dwarfs what a CD is paying at about 1.5%. Lastly, open up a Roth IRA or add to your Roth with your stimulus check if you have earned income. If you took an entire $1,200 check, divided it by each day of the year, that would leave you with about $3.28 a day. Now, if you were to forego that Monster Energy you continue to buy, or that Starbucks latte, or let's say that pack of cigarettes, then you double your money right there and also have well over $60,000 just from a reasonable rate of return of 7% by either giving up or taking what you might be tempted to spend with that stimulus check and give up a few things along the way. So in wrapping up, as I gaze out on a lonely trampoline, which last Saturday was inundated with bouncing baby bubbleheads and bobblehead kids that were enjoying the fruits of their dad and I's hard work, recognize that there's no luck in the market. It comes from skill, and regardless of whether you're a bobblehead beginner or whether you're an experienced investor, these principles have stood the test of centuries, and I would encourage you to do them. Now back to that trampoline. I'm reminded in thinking about that work of the hundreds of screws and springs it took to construct that trampoline on a basking, beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I'm remembered how that basic prescription for success, detailed in pages of directions, led us to failure several times, like Einstein with the, or not Einstein with the light bulb, but with Edison and his light bulb, failing and failing and failing. And so it is with trying to find the cure for a virus. No telling how many are going to fail. But remember, that construction of the trampoline was successful. So it is with the bouncing of the capital markets and a disciplined plan that you'll go through many failures, but wind up basking in the warm sunshine of a profitable investment employed through wisdom and discipline. We'll get through this, have normal markets again, and we have gained so much in going forward. But in the meantime, look ahead and look above. Joy comes in the morning, and we have just got one person to trust, and he is the Almighty God of this universe. Your name, we thank you and praise you for your time today and your sacrifices made, and have a safe, profitable rest of this journey.